maybe we do need to unwind everything.
Maybe. I'm not, but you say that casually.
No, I'm not.
You've got kids on this.
No, listen, look, I don't know the answer.
Part of this is like Balaji's line of thinking is that you're going to undergo this like multi-decade reorganization of how groups of people come together, and that the internet makes everybody, like that you can just come together in these communities that have much more acute belief systems, and that just over time the concept of a nation state is going to start to dismantle, and people are going to be, local is going to matter more because it's who you're physically around, but you're going to spend more and more time in a digital space, and you're just going to choose very specifically who you're going to connect to in that digital space. And TBD on, I think you can imagine 50 years from now, lots of little factions, and where war fits into all that. I wouldn't pretend.
You know what Breedlove would be saying here? If Breedlove he would be talking about the logic of violence, and that technology changes the logic of violence. And, not always can we say it's for the better. Sometimes for the worse, sometimes for the better. Maybe we just are having to go through this shift right now. We can't change it. Maybe the forces at hand are too big.
Maybe, but right now I'm feeling like we don't have much time. And by not much time, I mean a few hundred years at the outset. So it's not like by next Thursday we better have a solution.
Whew.
But I do think we're playing Russian roulette as of now.
Yeah.
It's just the gun has an enormous number of chambers that are hollow, right? That are empty. And as a result, it feels like we have a lot of time. But really what we have is that we have a very small amount of time. And I guess
what's the action? What's the action then? What are you saying next?
Look, I want to do next level. What do I want to do next?
What are we doing next?
I want to get institutions that can actually pay people who are heterodox and make them. I want to redistribute fuck you money before we redistribute regular money.
Just come down to El Salvador and see where that's being redistributed to change things there. It's interesting. I'll talk to you about it off this.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
But I really think that the biggest problem is that the people we need to be fat and happy and working on next level stuff are in general under somebody else's thumb. And so one of the things that's really important to me is giving more people use of their middle finger who are actually trying to build and do things. And in general, what I find is that there isn't a lot of ethos around I want to empower the people who are going to take down these structures who actually maybe know what they're doing or what they're talking about differently than I want to empower everybody who has the ability to get rich.
Well, listen, what I will say, and I think a thought to leave you with is that what I know amongst the Bitcoiners is they don't trust, and they're very distrusting of the education system and the institutions and the media industry and yada, yada. They're getting really fucking rich, and they do distribute their money, and they maybe are distributing that money into projects they care about, like interesting, different kinds of projects.
So are they? I can't imagine that they don't want to take out neoclassical economics.
You can't speak you can't speak for individuals or them as a group, but
No,
there
I'm
will
just
be
saying,
someone. There will be someone.
Where is the
Well, a lot of them are going to hear this.
Where is
So
the
that's a good start.
well-heeled? Where is the well-heeled group that wants to tell neoclassical economists to shut the hell up?
Hey, listen, a lot of them will.
Okay.
Especially the Austrian
So that's
economists.
one thing that's really important to me. Another thing that's really important to me is we got to get back to science. And if everybody's worried about losing their job every time they open their mouth, right? They didn't say something that was diverse enough, inclusive enough.
Oh,
and
we
had
all
enough
agree on this.
equity. What?
We all agree on this one.
No, we don't.
No, we do.
Well, we do, but look, I don't have the money to found a new science institute. So let me know when one of these people who does have enough money to found a new science institute founds a new science institute.
How much do you need?
Hundreds of millions. What do you got?
Well, it's pocket change for a few of our friends.
No, it's not pocket change for anyone.
For a few.
One of the things, having hung out with billionaires, I now can say one of the sad features that I did not, because I didn't hang out with billionaires up until 10, 15 years ago at all. I didn't know any. Nobody's got a spare $1 million. You hear people, oh, $1 million is nothing to him. That's like chump change. No, I've now met enough people who are seriously rich to tell you that $1 million is not chump change to any one of these people. So Mike Lazaridis endowed the Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics. I think, was it Citigroup did the Santa Fe Institute. I don't see anything that is trying to endow something new. You know, Bill Gates, who came from the traditional economy, probably did more trying to get, Sal Khan and the Khan Academy going on than I've seen the energy coming out of the Bitcoin universe. So my feeling about this is that I'm somewhat watching a different version of the tech money, where the tech money came with the tech ideology. Software eats the world. And that was inhibitory of any attempt to actually rebuild the world. Well, why rebuild the world if software is there to eat it? Well, in some sense, the problem with Bitcoin is that it's going to put the money in the hands of people who understand that certain central features need to be decentralized. But there are other things that need to be re-centralized, right? And that's going to be a much harder lesson to a group of people. And trust is important, right? Trust is, yes, it's true that sometimes you can't trust other people, but sometimes you have to. Mm-hmm. And if you can't figure out how to get to trust, to re-centralization, to building, in some sense, you're just one more utopian community that came through promising everything to everyone, and you couldn't deliver. And so the reason that I stay on this is that when somebody says Bitcoin fixes that, Bitcoin fixes everything, I get real dumb. I say, great, because I've got a laundry list of things that I want. And then people say, oh, well, Bitcoin can't fix this. It can't. And then
I understand the call to
then
action.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's a meme, though. It's a bit like when somebody... But have fun staying Paul's a meme, but they say it to Elon Musk.
No.
It's a meme.
Actually, it's not a meme.
No,
because
I understand
when you
your
say
point,
that, what you're doing is you're playing the Mott and Bailey game. Oh, no, we didn't really mean that. Yes, you did.
Semi-mean. It's a meme.
No.
You know what memes are exaggerations?
Sorry, I get really dumb. Maybe you mean it, maybe you don't. Do you? I think you don't.
Well, some people do.
I don't think they mean it. I think that the people with Bitcoin wealth don't mean it. I think that the point is that when it comes, that we have a huge number of problems. Now, the reason I bring up the inflation problem is that it's the clearest indication to me that the community doesn't even care about what the community cares about.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I mentioned Marty Bent. I mean, he's regularly talking about this, and there are other people having the conversation. They care about the inflation problem. Maybe they just don't want to attack it the way you do.
That's fine.
Or they haven't
bought into your idea. That it doesn't fix it. What I'm trying, we're not understanding each other. What I'm trying to say is I happen to be in possession of a piece of knowledge. And that is that all of neoclassical economics is vulnerable to the changing preference problem in ordinal welfare theory.
But this is a claim. This is your claim.
Yeah, but it's a mathematical claim.
Well,
I can show you what the paradox it results in.
Yeah, but what's the process that should go through? Is it paper, peer-reviewed, tested? It has to be sold to people.
Okay, assume that I give you a paper.
Yes.
Forget about peer review. Assume that I give you a paper which shows what the solution is, shows you places in the literature that says that this problem can't be solved. So on the one hand, it's a backwards compatible solution that is claimed, and another, it's claimed that no solution can exist. My point isn't about gauge theoretic economics in this particular issue. This is an opportunity to show you that the economists are not honest. They are not the experts, and they are not honest. Their process of peer review should naturally result in this thing being accepted. Yes, it does everything that the old system could do, plus it does new things, plus it contradicts the claim that we made in our own literature that this is impossible, right? Now, what is the goal of that? The goal of that is not even the construction of an inflation gauge. It is to say, you economists are not the experts on markets. Are we clear? Right? That's the point. Which is going on offense against the world's most offensive community. This is the world's #1 offensive community intellectually. No other community that I'm aware of would put imperialism after their subject matter. Can you imagine biologists talking about biological imperialism?
I wouldn't imagine thinking about that.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to say is economists talk about economic imperialism.
Hmm.
It's time for them to suffer a serious intellectual defeat so that the rest of us can get at our own economy.
But the intellectual defeat has to be one that works. It has to
Look,
be.
I can't say it a million times. There's a problem of the theoretical construction of an inflation gauge. Currently, that is something called a CONUS index.
Hmm.
You either know about CONUS indices or you don't. If you don't, that's fine.
Nope.
Okay. Cost of living adjustment is based on a CONUS index.
Hmm.
CONUS indices are based on welfare, a theory of welfare. Then there's an issue of something called chaining. Are you familiar with chaining? Okay. So chaining and cost of living adjustments are the two ingredients here, and they're based on a theory of preferences over market choices. I want to show that this community is too intellectually corrupt to manage our markets. That is my point.
But take my feedback, okay? I think the pieces that you are missing is a way of the average person being able to digest this, because I think a lot of people, no, this is important. You're like,
So send me a bunch of interns.
what I'm saying, no.
Send me a bunch of interns, and we'll do it in a studio, and you guys will tell me. But I don't want to do this, right? What's boring me about
Yeah,
this?
but you're contradicting yourself now, because you
ahead.
said, I want to go to war.
Yeah,
Okay, but then hear me out. What I'm saying is the piece you're missing is like a lot of this stuff that just goes over people's heads. It's like you talk about a whole bunch of concepts and bring them together. And honestly, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And am I an idiot? Or it's like everyone?
come on. It's not,
No, what I'm saying is that all you need is a way of making that to translate. Trust me, as someone whose job is, like, I am known for doing a show that gets people to break things down so the every man can understand it.
do you have a whiteboard?
What? No.
I'll do it right here for you on a whiteboard.
Travis has to go to dinner.
Next episode.
I think no. I'm not that I'm with you, not against you. What I'm saying is, if I don't understand, I don't understand.
Then maybe it's pointless.
No. You're giving up because you're giving
It's
up.
not that I'm giving up. I have to figure out where. Let me give you my calculation.
Yeah.
My issue is I have a different issue than the rest of you. Many of you guys don't want to be under anyone's thumb. The libertarian wing of your community is like,
Okay, well, I've agreed. I'm not.
I know. Don't tell me what to do, man. Well, I have some of that in me, even though I'm not a libertarian. But my feeling is slightly smaller, right? My feeling is, if you're dumber than I am and you're not public spirited, I don't want your hands on the wheel. If you're smarter than I am and you're public spirited, we can talk about it. But if you're dumber and you're not public spirited, there's no way in the world I want you telling me what to do.
What if you're dumber and public spirited?
I don't think they are dumber and public spirited. It's an interesting puzzle. What if they're smarter and not public spirited?
All I'm saying is, like, we could do circles.
I know, but I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is I want the people who currently are pretending that they know enough about the economy to force. I want them to be forced to admit, yeah, we don't know how to do stuff.
Yeah, and what I'm telling you is that I think to get there, my personal experience is that you need to find a way of making this so everyone can understand. And when I say that, then not to say you don't care. Like,
no, it's not that.
You clearly
Peter,
care.
If I have a board and we spend an hour and a half, right?
Next trip.
then the objection becomes something else.
Okay.
And then the objection becomes something else. My feeling is I'm 55 years old. I'm going to be checked out. In 40 years' time, I'm out of this place. Okay? I don't want to have a non-convergent conversation. What I want to do is I want to disintermediate the people who've stepped forward and say, we are the smart people. And my feeling is, no, you're not. And in part, part of celebrating Satoshi and saying, Janet Yellen isn't our A-team intellectually. I don't know who Satoshi is, but Satoshi, in the internet language, Satoshi greater than Yellen. Okay? So, this is supposed to be the smart kids. I want to go to war with the theory that has us under somebody else's thumb. Because whether it's Paul Krugman or, Marty Feldstein, in the old days, somebody was always telling us, Alan Greenspan, okay, the Oracle has spoken. I'm anti-Oracle. And the most important thing to being anti-Oracle is to say, you guys always claim that you're the smartest people in the room. You claim that you have the right to be in sociology, in psychology, in every field weaker than you are. Okay?
Are you talking about us as the big
No.
Phew.
The central banking, neoclassical economy.
Yeah.
So I keep thinking, oh, okay, so you guys have a problem with my enemy. So you're supposed to be my really close friends.
Yeah.
But we are.
Well,
that's why I
okay.
want to have this conversation. Everyone's going to listen to this.
I think that there would be a general view amongst a lot of Bitcoiners that you wouldn't affect change by calling them out. Like we all go log onto YouTube and watch a Jerome Powell live press conference, and in the comment section on the YouTube video, all it is people going, "Money printer, go burr and buy Bitcoin." And you sit there and you go, Bitcoin is, if it succeeds, going to dismantle all of this, and calling it out, whether or not it's with a research paper or whether it's just yelling as loud as you can, it's not going to make them change. They're not going to change their actions.
Put some money behind it. You guys are money people. You love money. You talk about money constantly. I keep talking about this technology. People bang me on the head, right? Hey, Eric, wake up. It's money. Okay, it's money. You're rich. You're rich. You're so incredibly rich. You bought planes with your Bitcoin. Fantastic. You bought private islands. Love it. Why don't you put some money into disintermediating the people who are constantly going to keep you sidelined?
I get that.
You're not doing that. Or why don't you put some money into physics research trying to get us off the planet? You're not doing that. So then the point is, okay, but I bought my mother a new house. It's like, awesome, wonderful. I'm so, well, you don't understand, that's freedom. I get it.
I think you're miscategorized. I think that narrative is miscategorizing a group of people.
Please tell me.
Look, of course, some people are going to buy themselves some nice things at some point.
I'm not.
Yeah. But the point being
who
is,
doesn't want to buy this? That's not my point. My point is, you're not.
They've got different agendas from you, maybe.
No, okay. This is just, it's irritating for the following reason. When you have a leading brand, which is X solves everything, and then you don't want it to get hit, you say, that's just a meme. And then you say, actually the community this, and then you say, okay, well, I test the community. Well, actually, there is no community. It's just like, okay, is this all Quicksilver? Well, so-and-so speaks for our community. Really, they speak for your, no one speaks for our community. Oh, shit. Trust, we don't trust, we verify. Oh, but we trusted Elon. Oh, but now we don't trust Elon. It's just like, okay, let's calm down. What is a statement? What does Bitcoin fix? And who do you trust? And where is the community? And who more or less is thought to be an important voice in it? Because otherwise, it's just like the contradiction of the last thing somebody said. You should read Saylor. Does Saylor speak for the community? Not at all.
Well, it is the reality of it's a moving feast. It changes, it evolves, it changes shape. It's like a I don't know, like a brain.
Terminator 2.
And it's learning. Yeah, Terminator.
Okay,
yes.
so yes.
I tried to break into the cinema to see that because they wouldn't let me in.
Okay, but the Terminator 2 thing, so it's shape-shifting. It's Quicksilver.
Yeah.
You don't understand it. You understand Zen.
And it's learning.
But that also makes it much less interesting. I mean, in part, the idea is I very specifically don't think that we're going to get rid of government. Government is going to continue.
I agree.
I don't think we're going to get rid of all fiat currency for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that we have an upcoming rendezvous where I think there's going to be a lot of pressure to make Bitcoin highly regulated.
It already is in places.
And it really bothers me about what's coming. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to disintermediate the blockchain, because I didn't want things to be traceable, even if everything was anonymous. And then I understand, okay, well, we founded it on this. And so if you take that away, you're attacking. At the end of the day, it's very intellectually unsatisfying to be caught in the same conversations when you see a world that you want to get to. And every time you try to hit one of the claims of the community that you think that can get you to that next level, you run up against a different claim of the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of what the frustration is. The part of the frustration is that I saw Bitcoin really early on and got wildly excited about it. And I wrote this thing. Please check out Go Virtual Young Man. And then it just doesn't, like, same world. I'm still looking at the same world. I'm looking at a different group of people who've gotten some control over their own lives by believing in something heterodox that worked. And I think that's beautiful and it's wonderful. But man, I was excited about this beyond that. I was excited about this as a society world-changing event. And maybe the problem is that I got excited in 2010, and I got excited because I thought that there was more, that Bitcoin was more. In my own mind, I saw distributed computing as we can port the conservation laws of the physical world into the digital layer. We can reestablish ourselves in some reflection of ourselves inside of our computers. We can take the network of computers and turn it into something like the space-time substrate, and we can have, just as gold travels on the space-time substrate, we could have digital gold traveling here, and gold has no stench. So we could get rid of the stench, right? That was sort of my thinking. And then I had this idea that from the early 90s, markets are just gauge theory. And you know what? Gold, which is a physical system of quarks and leptons, is also just gauge theory. And there's some sort of beautiful hope that we would do something that would be radically different, that would be beyond capitalism, beyond communism, beyond this planet, and really reflect on some sort of world-changing potential. And I guess the thing that I'm seeing is just like, okay, somebody came up with a new fucking meme.
No
or
way,
laser
man.
eyes, or,
No.
Toxicity is our best feature because it tells people who don't belong here to go away. It's like, whatever, I'm getting fucking tired.
Listen, I'm going to finish, but I think we can always come back to this. Memes are powerful, so I would defend memes. But do I agree with them all the time? No. Do we take things too far sometimes? But this is a decentralized moving beast. But the thing about Bitcoin that's great, Eric, is that everyone has the freedom to do what they want. If you want to do this, and you can go and do it. My only feedback to you is that I'm not the smartest man, but I am a fucking good salesman. And maybe there's another way to sell this to people.
Sell what?
Sell this, the way that the approach to attacking the neoclassical economists, maybe it just needs sharpening. Like like we as Bitcoiners, we need to sharpen our tools. Sometimes we make good arguments and bad arguments. Maybe the arguments that you want to build, they just need sharpened in a way that is digestible by a large group of people. Because I would imagine when people listen to this interview, and I think it's been very different from what I expected, a lot of fun. But on this point, I could imagine, I could be wrong, but I imagine some people will say, I kind of got lost and didn't understand it. I've got a good gauge for that. That's my gauge theory. I got a good gauge for that. So maybe that's what it is, but time to digest it, I think.
Well, my guess is that this is going to land in some way where people are just going to go back to their snap to grid perspective. Like, I heard a bunch of stuff and it didn't really speak to Bitcoin, or this guy really just, he's against the community, doesn't understand toxic. That's tiring. What I'm really excited about, let me just be very clear about it. You've got the world's greatest recent innovation by some measures. And it's doing an enormous amount for an enormous number of people. Unfortunately, it comes with a little bit of ethos, which is it lends to a simplification. Namely, we can get by with memes, we can get by with slogans, and toxicity is our friend. Trust, don't verify. Verify, don't trust. These are not things that are mature enough to replace the corrupt structures that I think are within its reach. Mm. And so my feeling is I wanted to align myself, not necessarily to become this community, but to ally myself with this community for fighting our common enemy, which is allowing, in general, much older people who do not understand what pressures we're under to continue to direct our society from positions of power. And my concern is that for some reason, the memes are hollow. If Bitcoin can't even go after the neoclassical economists who populate the Fed in an area where they are totally vulnerable, which is the topic of inflation, for which Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin's killer product. Its killer product is that you can hide from central bankers who are living through some MMT fantasy. You can short central bankers using Bitcoin. My feeling about this was, hey, it happens that they don't know how to compute this. It could be that they did know how to compute this and that they still didn't want to compute it, in which case I would have nothing to offer. But by virtue of the fact that they can't compute this, and it's in your wheelhouse, and you're not even going after that, or you're not even asking the right questions, which, it's like, well, Eric, can you sell it? Well, why don't you send me a team of salespeople? Go take some Bitcoin and buy a team of salespeople and tell me what I need to sell. And then tell me a bunch of visual stuff that I need to do. And go buy the visual stuff. Then hold a conference. Then have a prize. But ultimately, I would like to stop listening to Paul Krugman. And it's very important that if we find the thermal port on the economics Death Star, that our aim be true. And gentlemen, I thought that was what the Bitcoin community wanted to do. Why are you and your X-Wing fighters rocketing down, the canyons on a Death Star, headed right for the exhaust vent, and you won't even take your shot on inflation? Are you guys kidding me?
No, listen, look, we're just not seeing it the way you see it. We're definitely going there. But look, it is part of our narrative. But let's let people digest this. Let's see what people say, because there will be some feedback on this.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming.
Thank you for
I
having me.
appreciated it. It was definitely a challenge and a test, but it was definitely worth it. Travis,
A pleasure.
thank you for coming on,
Enjoyed
man.
the conversation.
Thank you to my man, Rich, for letting us borrow his studio. I'm sure we'll do this again at some point.
Inshallah, my friend.
Inshallah.